So at some point, hopefully we'll get on to opening statements that have good news attached to them or better news. But again, we lost another member of the Sounder family in the last day, Jack Daly. Jack Daly was from my era, and I know he and Al had a good relationship, a good working relationship. And, you know, he was one of the guys that signed me to my first contract. So we're all, you know, sad a little bit that he passed. Such is life. And we want to move forward and try and honor people that have done a good job for this club. So this is my way of just thanking Jack for the work that he did way back in my time. So thank you.
You guys know, sure, Mark.
So talk to us about this new secret scoring weapon named Kelvin Leardom that you have unveiled here in the past couple of games.
Well, I mean, I love it. He puts himself in good spots, and he does the defending. I think it helped today a little bit with, you know, with the way they played, you know, with two forwards. So we had Kim and Chad, and then I had Gustav in front of them, so we played 2 for 3. And they didn't have any out-and-out wingers, Mark. So that allowed Kelvin and Brad to get forward a little bit. So who's gonna mark Kelvin? Who's gonna mark Brad? So we had messaged that to the group, and I think he took full advantage of that. And you know, the thing I always say with all of our outside backs is, yes, we love when you get forward, but make sure you remember you're a defender first.
Matt?
So be honest, around the 10th minute, how many goals did you think you guys had in you tonight?
That was a pretty I'm going to compliment my team. That was a pretty tremendous opening 10 minutes. I mean, they were up for the game. They were fast. They played fast. The quality of the goals, the quality of some of our play was tremendous. So, yes, I did think we would get another goal, Matt. I won't say how many because I respect our opponents. And Anthony actually, you know, he's got a good team, and his team didn't quit. So I will refrain from those remarks. But, yeah, I thought we could get at least one more.
Andrew?
Coach, kind of piggybacking off of that, do you feel like you kind of left a little meat on the bone a little bit? There was a few scoring chances that you guys could have had, and then the yellow cards in the second half had to be kind of frustrating.
Well, that's two different topics there. So yes, we left a little meat on the bone in the sense that our play isn't. It was great in the first 10 minutes, but it's still early. It's the second game in. And the attacking movements are always the hardest thing to do. In soccer, the goals are always the hardest thing to come by. And so we will watch the tape and make sure that our movement in the box is in the right spots. You know, making sure that the guys that are crossing the balls are, you know, picking out the right guys, making sure that we get the right balance, because we've been really dangerous from outside. But what if teams start noticing that? Then gaps have to open up. We have to find Raul. So we have to make sure we're balanced in attack. The yellow cards, you know, I told them in there that, you know, that the game got a little chippy. I mean, Colorado came back last week a man down to tie it up 3-3. They're a team that doesn't give up. And so at 2-0, it's a dangerous lead. And they were still kind of chipping away. There's some fouls in midfield that could have caused the game to get out of control a little bit. And so some of the yellow cards for throwing the ball away, all addressed with the players. Some of the yellow cards because of the chippy play and all that. I like my team to settle down. We don't want to, you know, we want to play soccer.
Harley?
Coach, 2 wins in a row to start the year. The last time that happened was the 2012 season. What's the psychological benefit, if any, to you guys to kind of maybe banishing and dispelling the slow start narrative that had kind of been constructed the last few years?
Still early. It's only 2 games. We got to keep up with the Minnesotas and the rest of the groups. So it's still early.
John?
Coach, last week after Cincy, you said you weren't totally satisfied with the performance. After tonight, do you feel like this was a step forward, about the same, maybe a step backwards?
I I would say in different areas. I mean, soccer's too complex for me to say, okay, without watching the film, what did we see last week versus Cincy, and what did we see tonight? I'd have to watch the film to look at that. I thought we were solid defensively. Again, I think maybe some of our attacking movements could have been a little bit better. I think the mentality of the team, I mean, you know, guys were almost passing the ball when they should have shot, and, you know, holding on to the ball too long when a guy was over here. So some of those little nuances we'll take a look at. But overall, I thought the team was pretty free-flowing and pretty good. I mean, again, 62% possession, but, you know, 585 passes. I mean, it's pretty good.
Jose?
Was there an emphasis on yellow cards for a delay of game that was communicated down to y'all, or is that something that just happened to crop out tonight?
Well, it's been communicated every year. The referees try and do a good job, and they point out their points of emphasis. But guys, in the heat of the moment, they do things, and what is throwing the ball up in the air versus one of their guys kicking the ball out of bounds, score. I mean, there's all sorts of things that happen. I want my guys to just play. I don't want them to worry about the referees. That's my policy. If they make a foul, yeah, just let the ball go. Get back to your position. Let's stay focused. All of those coach things. That's what I'd like to have happen. But, you know, it's high octane game. Sometimes it doesn't.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, last week you kind of pointed out that Christian and Gustav at times weren't controlling the game quite the way you wanted it to. Did you see more of that today? How did that progress this week?
I think that one was the same, because I think at times, you know, again, in the second half, look, 2-0's a dangerous lead. And again, I got to give some credit to Colorado. I think it was tougher this week than last week. But no, I want us to control tempo. You need us to control tempo sometimes. And those guys are big parts of that. It's not like it's just those two. I mean, it's Nico, it's Victor. I know we like to get on the run, Jordan transition, but someone has to, you know, at the right moment say, okay, let's keep possession for the next 5 minutes. And that's my expectation for those two.
Jeff?
So Brian, at the end of the preseason, you were a little concerned that your team wasn't able to get that third goal when you took a 2-0 lead a couple of times in the preseason. You didn't wind up winning those games like you did tonight, but is this a continuation of that, or are these different circumstances because it's the regular season? And
I think, Jeff, the preseason games, I think the first game that we had a 2-0 lead was a game where after 60 minutes we subbed in a bunch of young kids. The other one, yeah, I was a little disappointed with that second game. This is obviously a little different because I think we created enough chances to score the third goal. And if my memory serves me correct, in that game, the 2-0 game that the other team came back in preseason, we didn't create as many chances. So as long as the team is creating chances, I'm okay with it. Yes, I would have loved to have one of those chances go in to make it 3-0, but you know, defensively, we were solid. I don't think Steph had to make too many big saves. So it is a little different.
Follow-ups? Harvey, I think I saw you first.
Coach, the last 15 minutes, your team had about 81% of the possession, still managed to create some chances within that time. What about the tactics or the players that you have enables you to kind of take the air out of the game but still be goal dangerous in that way?
Well, if you're asking about the subs and the way we played in the last 15 minutes, so Victor had the flu earlier in the week, like the real flu, not just a cough. So we were a little concerned about his energy level, and I thought he was good going forward. Some of his recovery runs, you know, it was smart to get him off the field in some ways from an injury prevention standpoint because he didn't train all week. So that was Harry, and Harry's job is to keep possession. So part of that is, you know, keeping possession. I was pleased that I was finding some minutes for Roman, and how that affects chances is that, you know, you can look at it and say, okay, a back line of 5, a back line of 3, however you want to call it. When I brought Roman on, we were playing 5-2-3, and Kelvin got forward, Brad was getting forward. You got 3 experienced center backs. It's actually an attacking formation when the game is going in your favor. So Harry comes on to bring us a little bit of possession. Roman comes on. We get our outside guys even higher up the field. Nico and Harry pinching in a little bit. We were able to create some chances.
Joe?
You created a lot of chances the last 2 games by overloading the left. Does that free up their depth to make those back post runs and be goal dangerous?
You mean Jordan? Or who?
Kelvin Lee then.
Oh, Kelvin. Well, it's a combination of Kelvin and Jordan. They know their responsibilities. Being left side dominant, I mean, I can't put a finger on a Joseph as to why it's happening as much as it is. Certainly Nico likes to float over there, but we'll balance it out. But I think it's been effective.
Art?
With Calvin Leardom, it seemed like there were stretches last year where he was maybe not 100% and was playing through some stuff. Outside of scoring goals last couple weeks, has he looked physically rejuvenated to you, and kind of how big of a difference do you think it could make for the team if he's back at full capacity?
Yeah, all guys go through spells, and last year, Kelvin might have been dinged up a little bit, but I'm sure he'd never use that as an excuse. I don't know how that storyline actually got out. He might have said it, but soccer players go through a lot during the course of a long season. He was injured, yes, at the beginning of the year. He had a high ankle sprain, which are tricky injuries to overcome. But this year he's felt good. And I think if you listen to him in the press, when players feel good, they feel confident, he plays with that little bit of extra swagger, with that little bit of extra confidence, and that's what I like to see.
Matt?
Not to harp too much on the first 10 minutes, but knowing that your team is capable of hitting that gear, is that exciting for you as a coach when you look at their potential over the course of a season, sort of seeing that in that?
Yeah. I just, they need to extend that or make sure the games are, maybe it's 3 goals in 20 minutes and then we can play a little differently.
Mark?
Talked a lot about the goals scored, only 1 goal allowed in the first couple of weeks. You say your defense on schedule, ahead of schedule?
No, it's been good. Team defense has been good. One of the guys, well, I'll actually expand on that. 2 of the guys that have done really good jobs defensively have been Jordan Morris and Raul. I don't know how many loose balls Raul has picked up, or if Nico was in front of him, he dropped in for Nico's position. How many times that kid has, done over and above what you would think most forwards would do. And Jordan, again today, he was dangerous in attack, but he also understands his responsibilities. He gets back and he helps. And then when he picks the ball up, he's back in the defending part of the field, and he picks the ball up 35 yards from our goal. That's a great outlet for us to start our transition. So kudos to those 2.
Mickey, we'll let you close.
Without harping too much on the refereeing, were you a little surprised at the number of yellow cards in the second half, and do you think that contributed to the disjointed nature of the play?
No, I like Baldemaro. I think Baldemero's a good referee. So, whatever he sees, it's his game to referee. I'm not an expert. So, some games are like that, some guys aren't. I thought the game was chippy, but, the opponent didn't want to lose. And again, that's credit to Colorado. I think they have a little bit of a different mindset.